First of all, I'd like to thank you for the organizers for giving me the opportunity, to again interact with the devotees in New Jersey and the neighborhood. Actually, I stayed in Tuago Temple when I was a little bit younger as a brahmachari there. I was doing a college preaching. I was going to conferences and presenting papers at different conferences, especially with the social sciences. And it was very enthusing. The community there is very, very inspiring. A number of inspiring people there who are very much eager with their services to Srila Prabhupada. And so when you're in such environment, you can sustain your spiritual excuse me, your spiritual motivations or spiritual desire of preaching. Because according to Krishna, in the Dhanakeli Kumudi by Rupa Goswami, Krishna was explaining to Lalita that, when people of like minds, they hang around, they come together, their input, their little collective input could give us give rise to very amazing results or high performance. We see that our Vedic literatures, they're very complete, except that in most cases, we are not able to correlate the Vedic teachings with contemporary problems, psychological, social, economic, whatever. So this topic is very pertinent because over 600 million people, 264 million people on this planet are suffering from anxiety and depression. So when a problem is global and at the same time local, in America, about 19% of the population is affected by depression. And as far as anxiety is concerned, every one of us is suffering from some sort of anxiety. Because if we understand that, according to Bhagavad Gita, according to our own literature itself, Bhagavad Gita 13:9, chapter 13, text 9, one of those lines runs, Janma Mritu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosha Anudashana. So Prabhupada explains that the anxiety for death, anxiety for birth, anxiety for disease, these are all sum and substance of all of our anxieties. Anxiety must be there. If we don't have anxiety, means our bodies have been turned to ashes. They will be taken to crematorium and burned to ashes. Then no more anxiety. As far as we are living in these bodies, in this material world, the material world is characterized by kunta. There are two major worlds that we can distinguish. We have the Vaikunta and the Kunta. Vaikunta is the abode of Vishnu, where there is no anxiety. It's characterized by zero anxiety. Why? Because everything there is in relationship with Krishna. The activities there are in relationship with Krishna. Whatever people are doing, yeah, we may say, well, they also have anxiety because we can see that they want to be with Krishna all the time, and if there is some interference, it brings anxiety. But yeah, but that is transcendental anxiety. But the anxiety that have to do with these material bodies, with material affairs, distinguishes us from the Vaikuntha basis, because we are Mritya basis. We are residents of the planet of death. So you imagine you are on a death row in prison. And definitely your anxiety knows no bound. And we are all on a death row. We will be executed somehow or the other. It's just a matter of time. Yamaraj will come to kick us out from this body. So how will we not be in anxiety? This material world is designed for people who come here to be full of anxiety. Because, literally speaking, anxiety basically implies a situation where the embodied soul encounters or is experiencing emotional tensions. And we are all having those emotional tensions. It's just a matter of the degree. So, we have to understand that someone has got many anxieties, someone has less anxieties. It's just a matter of a comparative analysis. But the variable, notwithstanding, the constant is there, it's dominant in our lives. Okay, I'll give you a very gross example. If a child is born, say a girl is born, and this is typically in, say for instance, in India, and also right now in the Western countries too. I mean, everywhere. A girl is born, when they go to school, they finish college, they are of marriageable age. The next thing is, where is the spouse? I remember I encountered somebody, and she was a sister psychologist. That time she was still doing her PhD. And in a particular European country I traveled to. And, she was around with my friends. They came to see me. So she said she wanted to ask me some questions. So she was asking some questions. And she raised some issues. I said that, you're just going to finish your PhD, so what is your worry about? And then she said, yeah, the worry, the anxiety is, where is your husband? I said, when you finish, a man will be begging you. So, and again, I remember another scenario in when I was in Nigeria. There's one of my friends who was a young professor at the University of Ibadan. So there was one of the students who came to get some information from this young professor, and the professor's friends and servants, some of them are girls. So they told the professor that, the anxiety of this girl, of this year doctoral student. He said, she had told him that her greatest anxiety is her spouse. She's going to finish this PhD in 6 months, remaining just to, present a dissertation. But where is the husband? Where is the anxiety? Where's his spouse? So people may think those who have plenty of money, they don't have anxiety. No, but then there is another form of anxiety. Look at the case of Trump. Trump was supposedly a very rich man, very opulent man, but he had that anxiety to rule for a second term, and it's not forthcoming. I mean, if you go to X-ray his emotions, you see the type of tension that he is passing through. And as a man, he has to speak and laugh, but and especially an opportunity that other people, supposedly people that he thinks that he's superior to, had ruled twice, and him only once. So he's in terrible anxiety. So what Krishna mentions in the Gita is just so obvious. It's just so open on the planet. And especially in the Kali Yoga, in Skanda Purana, it's mentioned that in the Kali Yoga, everyone is a Sudra. Kalu Sudra Sambhava. So, Sudras, they have many anxieties. And so because Kali Yoga is predominantly inhabited, or the denizens of Kali Yoga are Sudras. And so we are full of anxieties. We have anxieties about paying the bills of the house. We have anxieties about when our daughters are of marriageable age, how to marry them out. And we have anxieties about how to get our own house. If we are renting a house, we have anxiety about how to get our own house, how to buy our own house, so that we are free from the Shylock landlords. So anxiety is a constant. The variable is the degree to which an individual is having anxiety. The variable is the object of anxiety. But the anxiety, this is the wall of anxiety. This is a kunta. This is kunta, mrityu loka. Who is not in anxiety about death? That is why people have gone to study plastics surgery, so that to try to make you feel younger. But if even the plastic surgeon makes you feel younger, he will not stop death. He will not stop Yamaraj and his agents from coming to knock on your door. So that anxiety is still there. Plastic surgery does not remove the anxieties. Even psychosurgery does not remove the anxieties. Psychosurgery is one of those processes where, modern medicine tries to use those tools in controlling people. But there are natural ways to control yourself. There are natural ways to control the passion. Even there are natural ways to deal with the anxieties. Now, anxieties have different levels. There's a mild anxiety, there is moderate anxiety, and there's the severe anxiety. And beyond, we have we have people who are characterized by anxiety. That's all. And so we call that trait. We call that class. And so for the anxiety that one just reacts to a fearful situation or an unforeseen circumstance that could just go away. But the other type of anxiety needs to be addressed. Trait anxiety needs to be addressed. And sometimes we have children who are like from 11 years old, they start exhibiting or experiencing this type of anxiety. Now, for people in general, anxiety and depression, they are mental health cases. But because of the stigma with mental health, people shy away from reporting their such cases to the medical to their medical doctors, because there's a stigma in society. Oh, he has a mental problem. But the point is that if everyone on this planet actually undergoes the proper test, majority of the people will not pass the test, because it's just a complex psychological psychiatric science. And so what traditionally happens is that people tend to forget that they've been born into this world. The Bhagavatam explains that every step you take in this world, you could meet with danger. So what type of world is that? Even with that understanding, you will be in anxiety, man. That every step you take, you could meet with danger. Pada pada hi vipada. And we are seeing it. Someone walks out, drives out with his car or with her car, or just going to the mall or just going to visit, and they never come back. They're gone down. They're shut down by someone. So that confirms the statement of the Bhagavatam, that you could have so many plans, but you never can tell whether you'll be able to stay even the next moment to fulfill those your plans, or to prosecute those your plans. So the Bhagavad Gita gives us an insight about the nature of these material bodies, the nature of this material existence. If someone tells you, oh, don't worry, in the future it will be so juicy, they're not being truthful. Because again, according to the Bhagavatam, according to the 11th canto, there's so many predictions about the future of the deterioration that will take place in the future in this very age. Anxiety level will be so high. The depression level will be so high. I know of cases where children report report to their parents, Mom, I'm depressed. And then the mom says, oh, you're a very happy girl. I mean, it's like, again, because of the stigma, someone is reporting, a teenager is reporting, Mom, I'm very depressed. Oh, you're a very happy girl. Who is deceiving you like this? He said, no one is deceiving me. I'm feeling it. Oh, you're a very happy girl. But you are not a medical professional to make that evaluation. And it's not even something physical like an injury on the body that someone tells you, I have an injury on my knee. And you don't, it's not there. And then you say, oh, there's no injury there. But this has to do with, this is a mental case. And someone's reporting, a child is reporting to the parent, and the parent is denying it. I've seen cases like that. And then the child grows up with that type of feeling, with those type of impression. And you see, with the mild anxiety, it could be treated alternatively. In some cases, you just need some, some psychological therapies. You don't need some medications. But with the denial of, parents or guardians, after hearing a report from their kids, that could help to worsen the situation, because that time might be, on a low level, and because it's not taken care of due to denial, and then it goes increasing. And at some point in time, it becomes a heavy scenario. So we have to understand that even as we are trying to be devotees, I can tell you, look, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychiatrist. My doctorate is in applied management and decision sciences. In other words, I'm an applied management and decision scientist. I am not a psychiatrist. So it is not that just because I have a PhD, then I become a knower of all fields. I'm a psychosurgeon, I'm an epidemiologist. Because why? Because I chant Hare Krishna. When you know Krishna, you know everything. No, that's not right. At least to myself, I know that's not right. And therefore, I have fear, I have problems. Look, even in India here, because they have no allopathic provisions for any medication to that effect. And I'm dealing with some Ayurvedic doctors in Vrindavan. So I don't say, well, I'm a PhD in applied management and decision sciences. I'm a Swami. I've been chanting Hare Krishna for over 35 years. Who are you to tell me anything? That's not my field. I didn't study Ayurvedic, doctor. I didn't study Ayurvedic, Ayurveda. I did not study medicine. I am not Murari Gupta. So we have to understand our limitations. And we are inhabiting a body that is highly limited. And so we have limitations. First, let us admit the fact that we have limitations. We are not omniscient. And if we accept our position, then we'll be able to appreciate what help comes from somewhere, from someone. And so, mental health is a stigma. I was given a talk at an academic talk at Long Island in November 2019. And one of the things that I was mentioning about how mental health interferes with students' abilities to excel. And sometimes the parents make it worse because the parents keep denying that the kids don't have mental health. So, anxiety, depression could lead to suicide. So, back to the point, we have mild anxiety, we have moderate anxiety, and we have severe anxiety, like, panic attacks. Now, one may say, when we chant Hare Krishna, this is all taken care of. I agree with you. It has to commensurate with the intensity of your devotion. Oh, yeah. But otherwise, ordinarily speaking, when we have issues, we should seek for help. And when our children have issues and they come to meet us, we should listen to them. We should not just brush it away. Because these things are real. Anxiety is real. Prabhupada mentioned it. It's real. And because we are not very Krishna conscious, it could weigh us down. It could give rise to something else. Depression, the same thing. And in depression, there are some cases where there are some real elements. I mean, it's like, there are some hormones that you could be depleted of some particular hormones, and it could result to depression. So when our children have reports, or when our loved ones or our significant others report to us or share with us that they have depression or they have anxiety, we should think of how best to help them instead of shying away from it, instead of denying it. Because this denial has caused a lot of problems to people suffering from depression and anxiety. And one of those social issues that causes a depression is that in some cases people don't have, apart from the biological reasons, so social reasons. Some people they may have a beloved person in their family, in their lives, that passed away. And it could give rise, it could result to depression. And if it is not treated, if they don't seek for help, it could really impair with their functionality, their activities. So, and even in our movement, there are cases. There are cases of who commit suicide. But there's a case we should understand. It has some relationship with depression. I remember one day, I was at Washington, D.C. I gave a Sunday class. One devotee took me there. And then when we to go, I finished the class, I was to go back to the house. And then the devotee who took me to the temple, he said, one lady desperately wants to talk to you. One lady desperately wants to talk with you. I said, who is that? Where does she know me? He said, he doesn't know, but she's in desperation. She wants to talk with you. And when I said she should go bring her, and the lady is a nurse. She was on medication. And she was on medication. And she stopped the medication without consulting the doctor, no proper procedure. So she said she was having suicidal ideations. She was having serious thoughts of suicide because she was having depression. And then all of a sudden she just stopped the medication. And we should hear this. And sometimes I've also seen some cases. And then the reason why she wanted to see me was that she said, you saved me. You saved me. I said, what? I said, because she said that she used to read my posts on Facebook. That time I was active on Facebook. Now I'm not on Facebook anymore. I stopped using Facebook over 7 years ago. So I used to preaching, and I made so many devotees through Facebook. And so she said she used to read my posts. There was the time that I was posting something on suicide. Yeah, because I've done some works on suicide. I've published some articles in the past when I was much younger on suicide, because it was so common in those days, say in the 1980s, and even in the Kremlin, people commit suicide, stay in the office and put a gun on their head and shoot themselves dead. Why? Because people are thinking, let me just die. When I die, everything is finished. I will rest in peace. Again, some of those cases have to do with mental health. That is not addressed. So depression is a major problem. I give you another example. There was a U.S. Army, 30 years old. I mean, he's from the Navy. So I think he left the Navy. Yeah, he left the Navy. So he came back home, and he was living with his parents. The parents were like in their 50s, 55, 56. They were parents. But you know, these guys who served in the military, they have a number of them have a lot of problems because of the exposure. So his parents were sleeping. His mother and father were sleeping. A white guy. And he carried his gun. And then he wanted to kill. He shot the both parents, and then the family dog. And he wanted the cops. He wanted the cops, the police station, to report about what he has done. So he was taken into custody. All of his body, was splattered with splinters of blood. So, but he explained himself that he shot his mom and his dad and the family dog. So this is the case. He was not normal. He was having some serious mental health issue, perhaps unattended to or neglected. So the next time we hear a family member says that they have depression or they have any mental issue, we should be desperate to help out. There are hotlines you could call if someone is having suicidal ideation. Yeah, it is that serious. So if just a minute. It is that serious that the levels of anxiety that people have or depression has led to suicidal thoughts, and some people have even executed. So if one is experiencing, if your loved one is experiencing suicidal thoughts or tendencies, call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8285. 1-800-273-8285. And you'll be able to get some help. Instead of saying, or instead of thinking, everything will go away. Everything will go away later. Might not be true. Everything might not go away afterwards. It might just be deteriorating. But we have a solution. Anxieties, material world. Depression, material world. If we are in a material world, disease, whether mental health disease, is just part of, is the constituent of material existence. The way out of it is to take devotional life seriously and to take sadhana intensely in such a way that one can become quickly purified. Because it is a global problem, and it is a serious problem because it requires urgent attention. That's why it is a problem. You know, in research, if you want to address a particular problem, the very first thought should be, is it a global problem? If it is just a local problem, that may not be too much of a problem. But is it a global problem? Is it a global problem? It is a global problem. And so what? People will suffer, people will die, and people have been dying. In New York alone, every year and then you hear on the news, you see on the news, someone is shot for nothing. In America, every year and then you hear in the news, someone has killed themselves. Even right now, familicide. Familicide means killing the family, exterminating the family. In some cases, it's the husband who comes with a gun, kills the wife, kills the children, kills himself. In some other cases, is the husband, is the wife who comes with a gun, kills the husband, kills the children, and turns the gun to herself. This is familicide, extermination of the family by a member of the family. So you tell me, they are happy doing this? These are typical cases of unaddressed depressions, unaddressed mental health cases. And so this is a serious problem. I mentioned before that anxiety alone is one of the most common mental health disorders in America, with 19.1% of adults in the US being affected in 2019. And so it is important for us to guide our society, to guide our movements in such a way that we're there for each other, we're friendly, we're loving, so that if someone is in a problem, they'll be able to share their problem with us. If we're not loving, people, they die with their depression, die with the anxiety. They will not tell us. And I have also seen, I'm sorry, these are lived experiences. Have also seen someone, a leader in our movement, told a new devotee who is taking some medication to go and flush off the medication. Obviously, that person, that manager has some problems. How you can tell someone you're not a psychiatrist, you're not a psychologist, you're not a medical doctor. You don't have the right to give those type of instructions to somebody just because you are the president, just because you are the project leader. I have seen that. People have reported just cases to me. So we shouldn't think that, well, this is not real, it's all fake, it's fake news. Trump says that everything is fake, coronavirus is fake, but he got affected by coronavirus too. So depression, as a matter of fact, and in fact, and even anxiety, there are also researches that have been conducted that meditation makes a difference. In 1999, Florida State University, one of these devotees, Wolf, he conducted the research, the effect of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra on stress and anxiety and stress, depression, and the gunas. And that was the first of quantitative research to be conducted. And they found out on the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra on mental health. And I found that the Krishna Maha Mantra has positive effect The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra helps in ameliorating cases of depression. But then, the FDA has not approved that. So if someone has some mental health problem, we are not doctors. We can say, oh, he's suffering from schizophrenia. Well, one devotee in Florida conducted the research on the Hare Krishna mantra, and it says like this. And even that research was not on schizophrenia. It was on depression, stress, and ignorance, if I'm not mistaken. So again, we can take up one thing and try to generalize it. I found also some recent research to 2019. There was a pilot study published in this Journal of Student Health, the peer-reviewed journal, which is authorized. But you know what? If even a scientist conducts a research and then it brings the facts up, before that is taken to be a standard, or several similar researches will be conducted. I mean, it's like, to get a vaccine, it's not an easy thing. There's so much of work so much of scientific work has to be done. So in the same way, we have to understand that the life of a devotee is very precious. And we need to also remind ourselves that the world we live in is characterized by kunsha. But when we connect with Krishna, our lives could be that misery or the anxieties could be reduced almost to zero. As far as we are living in the material world, according to Prabhupada, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, these are all sources of anxiety. And therefore we should think of how to transform ourselves through devotional service. We should think of how to go to that place where there's no anxiety. Vaikuntha. If someone is in prison and they've been asked to carry stool, they've been locked up in the toilet room, and is complaining, why are they doing this to me? You're a prisoner. Yes, you have a right, but you're a prisoner. You're circumscribed. You stay all in one room. You complain, why am I just in one room? Why don't I just move around? See, I want to go to London. No, you're a prisoner. You can go. If you want to go to London, decarcerate yourself, free yourself from the prison terms. So the lasting solution to all of this mental health problem is to become Krishna conscious, to go back to God, where the Vaikuntha and the Goloka Vrindavan, they are perfectly suited for life without any type of anxiety. Yes, any comments or questions at this point?
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Such a wonderful class. You give so much deep insight into the this topic, very interesting topic, anxiety and depressions and all. Um, so, Maharaj, before getting into the question and answers, I would like to make a quick announcements before we lose the devotees. Um, we have a beautiful programs are coming up this week. On Wednesday, December 16th, 8:30 p.m. class will be given by His Grace Lal Govindas Prabhuji, and the topic is lessons from the life of Narada Muni. English translations will be provided, and then after that we have a Sunday, December 28th. Class will at 7:15 p.m. The class will be given by His Grace Radhika Raman Das Prabhuji. The topic is Bhagavad Gita from the Bhishma Dev's perspective. So very, very interesting topics. Please join us. And once again, welcome to the new devotees who joined today. Please log into our website. You can find our programs and the schedules. We meet every Wednesday, Thursday, kids timings, and Sunday, the regular Sunday class. So, Maharaj, real quick, just before open the floor for questions, I'll quickly scan through what exactly the we understood today. So you mentioned that this material world is designed like it's a kunta. It's all, by nature it's anxieties, and anxiety is for everyone. No one is exception. You rightly pointed out, no matter rich, poor, even president, or no matter anyone. And it's just knowledge is that in Kali Yuga, it's everyone is kind of Shudra, so everyone has to full of anxiety. And you also kind of touched upon the anxieties like at different levels. It has, and you also gave the mention that Bhagavad teaches us this nature of this material world like a padam padam vipadam. It's every step is anxiety, every step is a danger. So at last, you gave the conclusion saying that devotional service, the sadhana is very, very important for devotees because our life is so precious as a devotees because uh, that for non-devotees, they don't have this access about the anxiety, root cause of anxiety, and also the our life is so precious, so we will have to be take our sadhana is very seriously so that we can be lead by examples or at least preach, we can do our part of service. So with that saying that, and I would like to I have the questions are raised by the many devotees, so let me invite Abhaya Krishna Prabhu, please go ahead, unmute and ask the question to Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. Maharaj, I had a question regarding depression in general.
I'm not seeing your face. Is that designed in that way?
Can you see me now, Maharaj?
No. Okay, yeah, I can see you now.
Okay. So my question was, Maharaj, that you said that eventually anxiety and depression eventually even lead to suicidal thoughts, harming oneself, and because of at one point in time they feel like, oh, there's no need for me to live anymore. I feel like I'm suffering so much, right? But let's say it's not suicidal thoughts, but let's say it's of harming other people, because one person's feeling very insecure or very hurt in a way. So and they blame all of that on another person. So how are we able to? And let's say if we're the mediator, if one's the mediator between two people, and we're telling that other person, hey, you cannot harm that person. At the same time, you want to help the person in depression. How do we do that, Maharaj? Do you understand my question, Maharaj?
No. Can you make it more clear? If you are a mediator, help. If you,
like,
you mean if
say my question again?
Yes.
Okay.
Who is the person mediating? Is he a health professional?
No. He's just like as you said, Maharaj. Oh, if a person is suffering from depression, a friend, a really good friend, should at least try to help that person, right? So
Sure.
let's say the person in depression wants to try to cause harm like verbally, maybe even physically, anyway, to another person, and you're also his friend, right? So how do you solve the problem? By you help the person in depression, but not get the other person hurt. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. What happens is that if the person suffering from depression is your friend, you can help them, because I have a personal. I'll give you a personal example. I don't know that person. I don't know the person was not really like suffering from depression, but he had a very queer character, and everybody in the community was like talking against him, very hateful. They hated him. So then they come to tell me, and then one day I took him out. We went to the farm community, and then we went for a walk. As a devotee, we went for a walk deep into the woods, and I sat him down, and I tell him all the reports that I've been receiving. I said, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what people are complaining about you. I was much younger, I mean, in my late 20s. So I need somebody also that has very big influence on people, and people are afraid of him, can't talk to him. So then he told me, Vasudev, whatever you tell me, I accept. So that is the power of relationship. A relationship is very strong. You can help somebody. People don't want to be controlled, but love controls people. If someone is in deep love with you, or you're in deep love with somebody, if they do something that is not proper, you can speak to them privately, and they will learn a lesson from that. At the same time, the person who was hurt, or the person that this person was trying to hurt, if you're close to that person also, you can speak to him to pacify him. But in most cases, if you're not close to people, it is difficult to really pacify them. It is difficult to speak with them. But at least the person who is close to you, yeah, it's a very good strategy. You see how, I lived my life when I was younger, even as a teenager. I was moving with 3 boys. And so one of them used to like behave abnormally most times to people. And so sometimes I'll tell him, no, I don't like this. And then he say, but you're my friend, you're supposed to support me. I said, no, I am your friend. And that is why I am telling you straight, face to face, that you have to stop this. And he will stop it because, again, because of the bond of affinity, because of the tight, intimate relationship. So that's how it works. If we are not close to somebody, it's difficult to help the person. And that is why the emphasis should be how to create a loving relationship in our communities, so that we will be more available to be able to help people in need.
Thank you, Maharaj. It was a wonderful example. Thank you so much. That answered my question.
Thank you.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhay Prabhu. Next question, Gopal Govind Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for touching on such a sensitive topic and elaborating from technical as well as scientific data point of view. Thank you so much. Aside from the summary given by Ramcharan Prabhu, I would like to touch on one point here. Short point you touched, that there are people in difficulty and they they experience these anxiety and depressions. So in that case, we are supposed to hear and supposed to help them. Don't ignore, or like as you said, that even in the devotee community, we should be responsibly taking the action on it, right? So, which is good. But there are situations the other person is not in position to take the advice, which you just answer, that if you don't have that kind of a close bond, they may not receive your suggestions, or they may not be ready to hear you at all, right? So, but if the situation is like that, how do you address it? That's one question I have. And a short comment I have is one of the another class on the same topic. A senior devotee explained that anxiety arises because of too much of what if analysis goes on in the mind. Especially in America, this is very common, as you said, in statistics. 19% of the population has that, because the social bonding is too low here in America. And the depression is the result of the past activities, which are the impressions of the past activity, which are haunting all the time, and the person is not able to get away from that. So in relation to that, I would like to attach how the devotional life will help to eliminate these things, and what is the corrective action plan here.
Okay, so let me get back to your first question regarding how to help a person if you are not closely bonded with a person. You can let, even apart from, say, apart from this anxiety or this mental health cases, we can help other people in our community who are not closely related to us, or who we don't have a close relationship with. If we observe something, instead of keeping quiet, we could figure out who is close to this person, who is his closest friend, or who is our closest friend. And we can tell the person to speak to him or her. Because everyone has got some soft spots. And our soft spots are, our loved ones. I mean, see, even myself, I have some of my friends, some of my friends, they're householders. Okay. But sometimes they hear me say, or something went wrong, and I said something, I want to repeat that. I remember one time, so my friend, he told me, Maharaj, don't repeat this again. We are close. We are very close. Okay. He can talk to me like, like his brother, like his twin brother. So I said, all right, I will not say that again. So you understand how relationship work. Now, if you don't have a close relationship with the person, what you can do is to tell somebody else who is close to him to be able to help out. And if that is not there, if the situation is dominant, I give a hotline. Suicide prevention hotline. If someone is feeling lonely, is complaining of loneliness, we should be careful. We should see how we can help out, because that's not a good sign. And so the hotline that is provided, we should call health professionals to be able to intervene. 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. Because there are some things that is beyond our reach. And, sometimes I've seen cases where people really like threaten that they will commit suicide. And that's why I got all of this. I got a little bit versatile in all these things. Then I search out the local community there, the hotline for suicide prevention. So I got that ready. I got that ready with me. And that was a long time ago. I got that ready with me. If I pass away this person and he doesn't want to hear, I call that hotline. But in most cases, they listen. And so the ways that we can help is unlimited, but then the basic thing is that we need to comfort ourselves with the idea that devotional service can help us go through so many problems. Why? Because Krishna is Krishna's abode, or Vishnu's abode. We can associate with Vishnu's abode, and Vishnu's abode and his names, they're not different. And his abode is Vaikuntha. And his holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. They have the same properties with the abode. And so those powerful names, and there are scientific researches, that demonstrates that effect, that meditation has a very positive effect on people suffering from mental health, depression, anxiety, depending on the level. So we have to see how we are taking advantage of what Prabhupada has given to us, and see how best to be able to help out with other folks out there. I'll give you an example. At one of the Ivy Leagues in America, there was a devotee who shared a room with non-devotee. The non is Chinese, and it was exam period, and this Chinese devotee came back to the room, to the dormitory, and she was almost at the verge of suicide. She was almost at the verge of suicide. So, and she used to see this devotee chanting. It's another girl chanting. So the devotee said, why don't you try this prayer that I do every morning you see me? So she said, all right. So she gave her beads to the Chinese girl and showed her how to chant. She chanted, she demonstrated how to chant, showed her how to chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. She chanted all at once. You know what the girl said? She said, I feel better. Then the devotee encouraged her. Then you chant again, go to the next beats. And she was able to chant through all the whole one round. And then the Chinese girl who was just about to die, to commit suicide, she said, I feel 1,000 times better. Yeah, so the mantra, the Krishna's name, is very powerful, like Krishna himself. And so there's so many examples. I've seen so many cases about the efficacy of this chanting, how it helps not only about purifying us to be ready to go back to Godhead, But even material problems like mental situations, it helps to transform the devotee. See, what is the second part of your question? I can't remember.
Yeah, so second part, I think you answered kind of how do we correlate the situation of anxiety and depression to address in devotional life? As you just gave the example of let the devotee chant and all that. So to be more precise, let me just say that maybe I meet a person, that person is not ready to chant, not ready to listen to you, right? And how do you help? he wouldn't chant. He just don't want to chant. He knows the power of chanting. He knows that it's truth. He just don't chant. He don't want to accept it.
What about prasadam?
Prasadam is yeah, that's definitely there. Yeah.
So there are people who just want to tell you that I hate what you're doing. I will not do it with you. Don't try to proselytize me. I will not do it. I will not chant. Don't give me a book. I won't read. That's your food. It's very sweet. I can eat the food. So give him the prasadam. Make sure you make it like a point of duty to go to arrange nice prasadam for the person. I've encountered such people. I've seen such people. Look, and they take the prasadam, and then they become interested in chanting, and then they chant more than the person who was trying to preach to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gopal Prabhuji. Next, Mata
Yes.
Prabhuji. Maharaj, hopefully you are okay. We have another 3 questions.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, in the word in ISKCON, there's a statement that when you see the cow, you should milk it. So go ahead.
Yeah. Want to make best use of your association. Thank you, Maharaj. Rani Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the class.
Hare Krishna.
So I have a question regarding anxiety. So the anxiety doesn't stay when you listen to classes and lectures like this and devotees, they become fearless. But as soon as you're out of it, the anxiety or the fear comes back. And, even if you share it with anyone, everybody will say that it's all in your head. You just have to take it out from your head. So my question is that when Krishna lives in your heart, then why this anxiety which is in your head is, more overpowering? And how one can become fearless or fear-free from anxiety like all the time?
Okay, just a minute. I'm coming. My battery is running down, so let me see. I'll connect back. Just a minute.
Okay, Maharaj.
All right, can you see me? Can you see me?
Not at Maharaj. It's a echo is also coming.
Just a minute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me and see me?
We can hear you a lot better, but we cannot see you.
Oh. What about now?
Not at Maharaj.
Really?
Yes, we can
But we
see you,
can.
Maharaj.
Yeah, now we can see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, well, yeah, the last question by Mataji. What's her name again?
Rani Mataji.
Rani Mataji. Yeah, that is a very pertinent quick situation, because you know the in 1938-39, the German psychologist Professor Lewin, he developed the field theory, and the field theory brings to bear that the environment impacts on our behavior. And we can see that vividly, that when we are in a warm room, say this winter right now, so in a warm house in America, in New Jersey, or anywhere, and then you move out of your house. Yes, you put on even many jackets, but you move into the cold. After a few minutes, the cold, you can feel it, it starts penetrating into your body. So when you're in a temple, or you're among the devotees and involved in Krishna consciousness activities, yeah, the whole of the material problems, the depressive feelings, or the anxiety is not there, because you're like bulletproof at that time. As soon as you remove your bulletproof jacket, then you don't have that type of ability to be able to ward up negative intrusions, the negative vibrations, the negative energies that we have to deal with. But you know, this happens with time, and if the devotee endeavors to make themselves more Krishna conscious by engaging in activities every day, we should find time. See, if we are walking, we are walking. Ramasan, how many hours do you usually walking?
Nowadays, no, Maharaj. Nowadays, I'm not walking, but I used to walk at least 30 minutes or so before.
No. Your job, how many hours a day?
Oh, my job? Yeah, every day 8 hours, Maharaj.
Okay, 8 hours. You're doing 8 hours job. So Mataji, I hope Mataji is listening. So at that time, you're fully involved, you're fully absorbed in your professional job. So nothing else crosses and sustains in your consciousness. Now, similarly, if we are engaged 100% in the service of the Lord, that anxiety, we will not even think about it, it will not come. Just like that moment you were with the devotees, or in satsang, or in a temple doing some service, or chanting, or doing some harina, you don't have that anxiety. You don't have that negative thought. That could be sustained if we regularly, constantly do that. But then, how do we regularly and constantly do that when we have to do some other duties to be able to sustain our families? And so, as much as possible, we should practice. The principle is that we should not simply go on the on the minimum level. In fact, we should, whether we initiate it or not, depending on what are problems we identify, whether we initiate it or not, we should give a chance to Krishna to have a deep association with us. In other words, we should give more time to Krishna. Out of the 24 hours, we use 8 hours to work, or we may use 6 hours to sleep. And 8 plus 6 is 14 hours. So we have 10 more hours. What do we do with all of those 10 hours? We can use as much as possible to associate with Krishna. We can use as much time as possible to associate with Krishna. Because the chanting of 16 rounds is just, purposes is the minimum. Well, if we don't have any problem, we can chant minimum 16 rounds. No problem. But in our lives, we should associate more with Krishna so that we can get more of the protection. This is how we can become free from these anxieties and mild depressive feelings. Because if we lose someone in our family, beloved loved one, we definitely become depressed. We lost our job, we become depressed. So depression is there. So, but then for a pure devotee, it was a question of being depressed. If even is dying today, he's laughing and he's preaching. If something happens, everyone is going to die now. I remember one time, little things make people to be sad and depressed. I remember one time, my friend was took me to the airport in New York. I think I was trying to fly out to some place, and the flight was canceled also. So then we're driving back home, and someone called me on the phone. Can't remember the person, but someone called me on the phone, and he was asking that, your flight is today, you remember? I said, yes, I'm just coming back from the airport. He said, why? I said, the flight was canceled. Then I busted out laughing. And then he said, your flight was canceled and you're laughing? I said, what should I do? The things I cannot change. What can I do? I have to let go. Adjust my life and move on. Yes, so little things can make people to be so upset, so sad. There are certain things we cannot change. And we still hold on so much to it as if we can change it. So we should be adjustable. So one of the major problems that also we suffer, apart from not managing our time effectively, is maladjustment. We are highly maladjusted. Conditioned souls, we are maladjusted. Maladjustment means we are not able to, change our mindset to be able to get along with the particular situation, or to be able to transcend the particular situation. We will keep asking, why me? Why me? Why me? But we could do better by thinking, well, it could have been worse, if not Krishna's mercy. So let me move forward. So, based on the question that Mataji asked, we should see to the environment impact us, and this is not a belief. It's not a belief that the energy outside of the temple, the energy outside of a devotee community satsang, that it's the same with where you have the satsang. It's not the same. Because whenever there are 2 or 3 devotees discussing about Krishna, Krishna is there with them. And so the energy is different. Krishna is not this different from his leelas. And so we get that type of superlatively charged energy, Krishna conscious energy, when we are involved in satsang, when we are chanting, when we are discussing with other devotees. And so we should create as many satsangs as possible so that we can build up that high energy on high frequency. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mataji. Madhav Prabhu, can you go ahead, please? And you can switch on your camera so that everyone can see.
Any questions?
Yes, Maharaj, I asked Madhav Prabhu. Okay, let's go to the Rohan Prabhu. Rohan Prabhu, could you
Yes.
please? What, Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm here.
Okay, Prabhu. Can you
Oh,
please, Madhav Prabhu, can you please, yeah, switch on your video if you can? That would be great.
Yeah. Where's okay? You can see it, Marge?
No, I can't see you. I cannot see you.
Hi, can you?
Yeah.
You can see me, Marge?
No. Okay, yeah, I can now. Right.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Marge.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, simple question, that there's many examples. People are still, they're very much depressed. They're very much in anxiety, even after being indulged in so much sense gratification, which they think is ultimate satisfaction. But even though that they're indulging in all these things, and they see other people are still not happy, people commit suicide. There's so many cases, and those people are many times celebrities and big people. And if they're not happy, what to speak of us? Like, why is it that people still are not able to understand that there is something missing in their life? Like, why is it that even though by experiencing and even by seeing how other people, even when they have more sense gratification than us, and they have bigger house, bigger cars, everything is much more luxurious than themselves, how come people in general don't understand that, this is not where it's at? How come, is it like ignorance, like loss of intelligence, something like that?
Thank you. That's a very brilliant question. The song, this is also there. What's your name again?
Madhav,
Madhav. Okay, don't present son.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So is in Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, we say Pashyana Pina Pashyati. Pashya, even after seeing, they behave as they don't see. They go on, they go blind, they blindfold themselves. Even after seeing someone is dying, some rich person, some celebrity has killed himself or killed herself. Yet the people, they don't want to change positively. Why? I mean, it's like Arjuna, and keep in mind that sometimes the people have good intentions. Okay? they have good intentions to say, well, this happened to this guy, I better go and find out, how best to live my life. That moment, they have that thought. But after that, finish. I mean, it's like in the crematorium. When people see their beloved being cremated, most of the people around there, they just thought, oh, I'm just going to be very spiritual, very spiritual. Life is completely useless. As soon as they leave the crematorium, oh, it's finished. So we are covered, depending on the degree, the density of loss that we are covered, we respond to situations differently. Some people, they want to even act, but they are not able to act against their better judgment. Again, that's Arjuna was worried about that, and he posed this question to Krishna. Now, why is it that someone, acts against the better judgment? Acts as if we are being pulled, we are being forced to do things against our will. Because in most cases, it's like that. We do it, and then we say, oh, like, people steal or people do some terrible type of thing, and then they are indicted in court, they are prosecuted and found guilty, and then there's what we call allocutus, a last statement of the accused person. Okay, you've been found guilty by this court. What have you got to say? In some cases, we find people say, I was pushed by the devil. Please, you forgive me. I will never do this again. So, the bottom line is that, we are to a greater degree affected by that element, that enemy of society, lost. So that loss pushes us to act against our better judgment. Why is it that someone is acting against their better will, against a better judgment, even after seeing that this is wrong, after seeing someone is being punished for it? I mean, it's like, punishment. If you start even killing everybody who even does shoplifting, people will not stop shoplifting. They will not stop, because it's something embedded right in their marrow, not in the blood, in the marrow. So it forces, that inherent nature of that condition, so forces them to act against their better judgment. And so Krishna responded, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajaguna Tapa, Mahasano Mahapapma, Vidya Nihabhaya. This was Krishna's response to Arjuna. He said, it is lost only, Arjuna, that is the fulcrum, is the fundamental push. The remote button is lost. The remote button is lost. And so we are carrying this lost energy to very high density degree. And sometimes, you see, sometimes people think that lost means just to run after the opposite sex or to run after money. But lost is what drives material existence. Without the lost factor, there will be no material world. There will be no material existence. So that driving potential is the loss in us. We work so hard to accumulate, and we become envious of somebody. We want someone else to be killed. We want to kill someone else, if even they're not interfering with our positions and all this stuff. And someone is being killed for robbery. Someone is being killed for raping and killing someone. Yet other people are doing it. So this is due to, according to Krishna, is due to lust. That forces us. Lust, Krishna characterized as the enemy, the worst enemy of the conditioned soul. The worst enemy in the material world is lust. We think we have enemies, but the endemic lust is our worst enemy. But Krishna also mentions the Gita for the controlled mind. The mind is our best friend. So the last factor and inability to control the sensory modalities. There are a number of factors that impair us to do things against a better judgment. But the last factor is the predominant factor. Does it make some sense, Babu?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you so much.
Any other comments or questions?
Maharaj, we have 2 more questions to go.
Okay.
Rohan Gupta Prabhu, you please unmute and switch on your video.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Jai Prabhupada. Thank you for the wonderful class. I really like the point where you said that the only constant for all of us is the anxiety, but the variable is the degree to which we are suffering. My question was, Maharaj, that based on what I've heard and based on what I've also experienced, is that anxiety is often also a sign of controllership. So oftentimes we kind of overestimate the amount of control that we have in our relationships with other people, with our spouses, and so it is said that if we are overestimating the amount of control we have, we are in the mode of passion. If we are underestimating the amount of control that we have, we are in the mode of ignorance. And if we know how much control we have, we are in the mode of goodness. So and also to the degree that we try to relinquish control, we can be less anxious. So if you could shed some light on that, Maharaj.
Yeah. Controllership is one of our inherent factors. We like to control. Even in devotional service, you see some people, they like to control. And I would like to add that 99% of people on the planet, I don't want to say everyone, because I've not conducted the research in the whole world to say everyone. In fact, I don't use that word everyone, except I have conducted the research. I'm sorry. because if you say everyone, have you conducted a research? Have you conducted a quantitative research to generalize? That's to generalize your statement. So I'm saying to be on the safe side, as a research fellow, to be on the safe side, I say about 99% of people on the planet so about 99% of us, we like to control. Hamburgi, Sinoham, Barawansuki, Ishurham, I'm powerful, I'm Bogi, I am the enjoyer. Sinoham, I have the series. So the fact is that no one can say they don't like to control. Because this assertion, I derived it from the scriptures. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is the supreme Ishvara. We are also small Ishvara. Even a worm, earthworm, is trying to control leaves. The leaves that fall down from the tree around it, the earthworm is trying to control it. So even the earthworm tries to exercise its power of control. But the more we try to control, the more we become implicated. Because the more we try to control, we're bound to inflict pain on someone because we are not tactful enough in dealing with personnel. Majority of us do not have the management training in dealing with personnel in terms of tactfulness. Even most parents, they are not tactful in dealing with their children. All that they do is exercise that issue above. Control. Hey, you do this. Hey, you do this. And then you find that when the children grow up with that, in that type of environment, and they graduate from college, they got a job, they don't want to come back. They don't want to come back to that house in some cases, because they have been like incarcerated like prisoners. They're like, you know, they've been treated like zombies. Hey, you sit down there. Hey, you sit up there. So the bottom line is, whether the control is in a mode of passion, in a mode of ignorance, in a mode of goodness, it creates some implications. It creates some implications. Because we will hurt someone. And when we hurt someone, there's nothing wrong in trying to control without any motivation, without any ill motivation. Because, for instance, your child, you can say your child, you don't want to be a controller, because to control means you're trying to equate yourself with Krishna, and you allow your child to creep out of the, you know, out of your yard onto the road. No, everybody must exercise some control, but we have to control. We have to exercise that control with a sense of belonging. With a sense of belonging. In a sense of belonging, in the sense that we have to do it with love, and doing it with love means we have to exercise our sense of control, just like we will do that with our beloved sibling, our loved one. You see, there are some people that you love them, your love with them is so deep, and if even you tell them, hey, shut up there, they will just burst into laughter. Yeah. But you tell somebody whom you don't have any strong relationship with to shut up there, they will call the police for you. If you tell a child, shut up there. You tell your spouse, shut up there. They call the police for you. In America, I remember I was in Florida sometime in one of my friends' home. So husband and wife, they're my friends. So I was sleeping in the other part of the building. So then I came out to the corridor, and then I saw husband and wife. The husband was making his mouth, making his mouth like this, finger to the mouth. Then I was telling the wife, shut up, don't talk. So when I met him making like that to his wife, so I just busted out into laughter. I said, oh, you are emotionally abusing your wife. Even right here as I'm here, he begged. He begged like anything. He said, no, Maharaj. You see, she's making noise. That's why I'm saying that. You are in there doing Japan. Keep quiet. Because it's a big thing. It's a big thing in America, you know. So, bottom line is control. Control with love is perfect. Control with love is perfect. The person knows that you love them. Whatever you tell them, they will take it for good. But if you want to be just a controller, not being a lover, oh, you're going to run into big problems. You're going to run into a problem even with your toddler. With your toddler. You tell the toddler, sit down there. That's time Govinda stands up. Hey, Govinda, sit down there. That's time he'll stand up. 2 years old. That's time he stand up. What can you do to him? So the bottom line, as much as we try to control, will be saturated with love. Krishna also controls us, but he controls us with love. Do we complain? Oh yeah, so the Ishvara Bhav is there. And sometimes if we're not conscious and tactful about how we could just become like, you know, we could become a disturbance in their life. It could be even your own child. Does it make some sense? Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Last question.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. That's such a very nice point you made. Control with love is perfect. Maharaj, we have 2 questions, but I take it's as per your.
All right, ask your 2 questions. No problem.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Ramchandra Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So happy to see you.
A pleasure.
Long time.
Yeah. Thank you for arranging this program, for allowing me to come and have your association.
We are blessed and we are honored to have you on. Maharaj, we talked about suicide, mainly related to mental difficulties, but then there's also 2 other types of suicide. That one is spiritual suicide, when one leaves Krishna consciousness and walks away from Krishna consciousness. And then also when one follows Mayavadi philosophy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it's better to get burnt in a cage surrounded by fire, because that will only burn your body, but association of non-devotees will burn your soul. So I just wanted to bring that point up, and if you had anything else to say to that point, because many times people are worried about the mental and anxiety and depression, but then what about moving away from Krishna consciousness? That's also a very big problem.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
We should be very, thank you, Ramchandra. Prabhu. We should be very much worried. We should be careful. If we are careful, if we are loving, if we're lovingly dedicated to members of our community, it is difficult to commit offenses because
Maharaj seems to be frozen.
association of devotees. So, yes, I agree with you. It is very suicidal to abandon the association of devotees. And then it is also suicidal to embrace association of Mayavadis. Yes, so important thing is to be, Lord Chaitanya specifically mentioned that we should not speak with Mayavadis because they have very strong, convincing philosophy that could distract anyone from the path of Vaishnava culture, Vaishnava worship of Lord Krishna in his personal form. And so, yeah, those are important things that we should also be reflecting on. And the more we create strong bonding in our communities, strong loving relationship in our communities, people will not think of even living. People think of living because they feel lonely, because they don't feel cared for. Someone told me some years ago, Ramsaran, Ramsaran hearing, someone told me, the parents were giving her a lot of trouble, so she was thinking of suicide. But then, this person told me, but because of you, I will not commit, I will not live, I will not commit suicide. Yeah. So there should be someone. We should make ourselves available and be there for people in such a way that if even they want to live devotional service, they will think, because of Ramesara, I will not live. He's my good friend. He's my good friend. I'll be there. He will not feel good about it. So again, bonding in our movement is very important. Among the teenagers, among the older folks in the family, because we don't bond strongly in the family, we don't bond lovingly in the family. I mean, that will not be translated into the community. If we bond strongly in the families, if we have strong loving relationship in the families, that will translate into its reality and applications in our communities. Yes, so thank you very much, Ramachandra.
Thank you,
very much,
Prabhuji.
Okay.
Samara's last question. Shaili Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have a question. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. The question is how, sometimes, when kids don't listen, I get really anxious. So how to overcome that anxiety? It's just I want to protect them, but when they don't listen, I become more anxious that, oh my God, what should I do? So how to deal with this?
Okay. That's a nice anxiety about your children. I mean, I remember I met some kids in Kittanagara some years ago. They came from Florida. So I was interviewing them. These are teenagers. So I was interviewing them. So I was interviewing them. And even during the class, I asked them that. So what do you tell me? I just the question. I said, you tell me, can someone here amongst you, the kids, can you tell me what is the greatest anxiety of your parents? You know, one of the kids from Florida, he said that the greatest anxiety of their parents is that parents are anxious. If the parents are devotees, but what about their children? How are the children going to be? So this is a good age-old anxiety of parents. So if you're not really anxious about your parents' devotional future, then you don't love them. you don't love them. If you're just carefree about it, then you don't love them. Because the Bhagavatam mentions that the parents are those set of people who are responsible to extricate their children from the onslaught of birth and death. So yes, the parent has to be anxious about their kids' devotional development. And one way to be able to ameliorate the situation is to see that right from before even pregnancy, we cultivate our devotional culture, our spiritual life in such a way that we are very staunch in sadhana bhakti. And we don't play around with our japa. Papa prescribed that even for a husband and wife, before they produce a child, for them to mate, to produce a child, they have to chant, they have to take up a vow, like, you know, chanting many rounds. I remember one kid, Japadaka Swami's disciples, husband and wife, their son, second child, the 3 years at that time. And so the father told me something funny, because he said that Maharaj specifically told them what to do to produce a God-conscious child.